right. I think that we have gotten the green light, the thumbs up, the go ahead from the big man in the back over here at CCX Create in Brooklyn Park, where we are here each and every Wednesday, bringing you news that you can use. And remember, we can't do this alone. CCX can't do this alone. They will love for you to go on their webpage and click that donation button and see if you can dig out about 50 cents. I'm sure they will appreciate that. You have a special guest in the house, Reverend Troy Wilson, whom we will get to in just one hot second. Speaking of hot, boy, it feels like a heat wave outside compared to the last couple of days. Man, I love it. I love it. It's going to get a little bit warmer. It's going to get a little bit messy, but you know, I'm tired of the snow. I'm tired of the snow. I'm tired of the cold. You know, I'm starting to kind of get a little bit irritated by it. I think it might be time for me to take a vacation or something, because yesterday I just refused to go out the house. It was so cold.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah, Brother Joe.
Yes, sir.
What's going on with you, man?
Oh, I'm just, doing the same old, trying to keep them safe. That's all.
I know that's right. Well, before we kind of jump into the conversation with Reverend Mr. Troy Wilson, we got to kind of go over some housekeeping rules and hit him with that famous backpack. But before we do that, they starting to talk about that NFL. Boy, when I kind of talk about, you should hear him. Boy, hey, the Vikings done signed Mr. Murray from Arizona. Joe, you know what, bro? But I'm always excited, that for just the NFL season in general. I know that the Vikings had this very unusual, season last year. I don't exactly know what to call that, but that was something that was extremely challenging or just unorthodox. I don't know what was going on, but we've been signed Mr. Murray, and for a 1-year deal, and we're going to see what he might be able to bring to that QB spot. Pastor, Reverend, you got a team?
I'd rather not say.
Okay. I plead the fifth.
Uh-oh.
Hey, it must be a Green Bay person in the house.
I'd rather not say.
Hey, well, we already know that you, Mr. Pittsburgh Steeler down. So what's going on?
That's right. We're making some great off-the-field moves, some off-season trades and things like that. And we are definitely looking like a championship team coming into the next year. Things are looking up. We're excited out in Pittsburgh, as usual. Being the division champions from 2025, as usual. We're going to struggle this year in trying to get to the Super Bowl. And we set the bar a little bit high, so we're definitely going to be there.
Right, absolutely. I always admire your your little extra theatrics that you. But speaking of sports, though, the Timberwolves 42-27. They got 13 games left in the regular season. They are actually tied for 5th place. However, they're tied with Denver Nuggets, but Denver Nuggets has the edge on them because they've won 2 out of the 3 games. And so this last game that they played Denver just the other day was a big win for them. But it's kind of interesting because between seed number 3 to seed number 9, there's only like 7 or 8 games, that kind of separates, these teams. And coming down to the end, they start to play a little harder and things start to mean just a little bit more. But I'm a little concerned because if my second favorite team, the Golden State Warriors, don't kind of get their stuff together, they just might not make it.
Yeah, Golden State has been able to run the rounds for a while, but, quietly enough, Indiana's still doing some good things, man. And, I love Indiana. Not to say that they won't actually get there, but they do have the skills to pay the bills. The Timberwolves are, geez, how do we describe this? So every year we're kind of in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. We just like to get past, and actually make it to the big dance. I'm hoping that this year is the year that they pull the trigger on that. I've been rooting for them all along. I'm always rooting for them. But I don't want to get my hopes up until we're in that final round.
Whoa, wait a minute. Didn't he say he Pittsburgh Steeler?
Yeah.
Kind of anti-Vikings.
Oh,
but
definitely.
then we vote for we root for the Wolves.
You know why? Because I want to see the Wolves actually get a championship. They've been in the running for a championship since KG, the big ticket.
Right.
And with KG back home and part of the organization and everything. He had to leave to get his ring, and he came back. So, we really just want to see, Minnesota, get that ring. I mean, they've had to watch the Lynx get several.
Right.
Who started after they did and continued to be a dominant team and program. We'd like to see the Timberwolves get at least one before they sell the team.
Yeah. See, there go those extra theatrics.
Because the last championship team were the Lakers, and we all know how that turned out.
Right. Well, man, we're gonna go ahead and turn it on over to you, brother, so you can go ahead and hit him with them groundkeeping rules and that famous backpack.
Yes, sir. We just ask that everyone respect everyone's comments, and there's no such thing as a bad question. So just make sure that if you need to get in touch with us, you either inbox us, text us, or call us, and we're going to do our best to return your comment either on this show or the very next show. With that being said, we start, middle, and end every show with the backpack.
That backpack.
And that backpack consists of making sure you have your driver's license and insurance, which would be before you get in that vehicle. Remember to place them above the visor. That way, if stopped by law enforcement, won't be mistaken for a weapon. Remember to stay calm, keep your hands so they can be seen. Allow the officer to go through his spiel, and as always, make it on home to your loved ones. Same thing when walking down the street. Make sure you got your driver's license or ID where it's easily accessible. Remember to stay calm, keep your hands where they can be seen. Allow the officer to go through his spiel, and as always, make it on home to your loved ones.
Absolutely. Well, with no further ado, been sitting over here all nice and patient, and my man, welcome back.
Thank you.
Reverend Troy Wilson from over on the other side of the water. Was it 505 Wabasha Avenue North? Street North. Okay, 505 Wabasha Street North, and that is the Church of Scientology. So before we kind of get into it, I want you to be able to share, with our audience, your background and kind of how you kind of got, if you will, where you're at today.
Oh, yeah. So, I was born and raised in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the reason I was saying I plead the fifth when it comes to
he's a Bears fan. Okay.
Hey, it all comes out, don't it?
Yeah, okay. I saw that blue and orange waiting to get out.
And you know that they're moving to Indiana now.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
what?
We can get into that later.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Well, we needed to talk about that in the sports section. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to definitely talk about that one a little bit. But go ahead, I'm listening.
So, born and raised in Chicago. Let's see, I moved to Iowa in 1990.
Okay.
And I was mainly in Iowa for university and college studies and that sort of thing, and got married, had a couple kids, moved to St. Louis, got us separated. Moved back to Iowa.
Okay.
The kids came first, and I came afterwards, and then I was there until 2011, and then I moved here to Twin Cities because, let me back up. I actually became interested in Scientology when I read some books. I actually read almost all of the basic books before I even set foot in a church because I, grew up, Pentecostal Christian, and we had, I was raised to be very leery about other churches that you don't know anything about, and kind of feel things out. And so I was like, I'm gonna read this stuff before I find out, or before I commit myself to it. And so after I read the books, I was like, oh, this is actually simple. It's actually something that doesn't even require you to change your faith. So you could be a Christian and a Scientologist. You could be Buddhist and a Scientologist, which, by the way, that was my major at the university, was religious studies and philosophy.
Okay.
And then I got that degree, and then I got another degree because I realized that I didn't want to go into academia, so I got a degree in computer programming.
All right.
So when I moved to Twin Cities, I moved here because the church was opening up the brand new organization over in St. Paul.
Mm-hmm.
They moved from Minneapolis to St. Paul, and it was the big beautiful building at 505 Wabasha.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, yeah, sure, I'll go and and be a staff member for a few years, and then after that I was done with that. I was working as a programmer at this place called Mainzel. So I did programming for a while, but at the same time I was like, I did continue my studies and my I teach samba. We talked about that last time, right? Because I have a music group that I we do parades and that sort of thing. And then let me see how I got back to being a staff member at the church. The other thing I did was I was getting some counseling for myself to just kind of deal with some things that was like dealing with my family. When I say my family, I'm talking about my extended family, like my entire family from Chicago, and I have family in California, and I realized what it was that I have been trying to do all these years. I've been trying to help my family, and in extension, help the Black community, because back in 2015 is when the Black Lives Matter started to kind of take root, and and the narrative was that police were gunning down Black people in the streets, with unarmed, and I was like, this is really getting to me, and I wanted to do something effective that could mitigate these problems and actually like come up with a solution for it. So I learned about this other organization called Applied Scholastics, which uses the study technology that L. Ron Hubbard had developed for Scientology. However, in 1972, some teachers who were taking some of his classes asked him, hey, can we use this in the public schools? And he said, well, sure, you can, but you make sure that, since I developed this, you have to use my name. So they founded this organization called Applied Scholastics, and all of the books and materials is not written by L. Ron Hubbard, but it does say based on his works. So that's their way of saying he's the
author.
Well, the developer.
Okay.
And so I got trained through Applied Scholastics because I realized, this is the thing that I can actually do that will help this situation. So I have my Applied Scholastics group that I teach on Saturdays, and then anyway, so then after I had that realization, I realized, okay, I want to do something more. So I joined staff at the church again.
Okay.
Well, how about just a little bit more about kind of what Scientology is?
What I was kind of getting to that.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of talking to quite a few folks, right? And I think that individuals have a misunderstanding or misconception of what the Church of Scientology is, and kind of what you kind of stand on, and things of that nature. So when you're talking about that, you can be from different religions and different faiths and things of that nature, and still be part of what it is that you guys do. I know that you guys have this very beautiful
the chapel.
Not the chapel, but when you walk in your front doors, you have that.
The plaque.
Yeah, the plaque up there, and kind of what it says. Can you share a little bit more as far as what is the Church of Scientology, and kind of what it says up there, to kind of give a little bit more insight?
Sure. So the aims of Scientology is a world without criminality, insanity, and war, where honest beings have rights and honest men have freedom to rise to greater heights. So basically, the focus on Scientology is the individual himself. Whatever you, so we trust that man is basically good. We trust that if left to his own devices, he will actually turn around and help his fellow man. Mm-hmm. The problem is that he's beset by all kinds of problems and enemies amongst us all, right? If he is able to overcome those things, then he naturally wants to help someone.
Right.
So Scientology is a technology that allows him to do those things. Now, as a matter of fact, I wish if I had known we were going to talk more about Scientology, I would have brought this article, and it basically is called An Invitation to Freedom. And in the article, L. Ron Hubbard says that part of your freedom is your freedom to your religion, to
Mm-hmm.
your political party, to your whatever it is, that's your freedom. As a matter of fact, we may insist that you do not stop going to your synagogue, your church, or your mosque.
Mm-hmm.
That's because that's not what we're interested in. We're only interested in helping you become the best you that you can be.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for whatever reason, I don't know exactly where some folks, kind of got their information from,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I want to make it abundantly clear, and I want you to kind of confirm this for me,
Mm-hmm.
that the Church of Scientology has nothing to do with any type of cult practices.
So, the problem with trying to answer questions like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, the word Scientology
Mm-hmm.
is a combination of Greek and Latin. The ology means the study of, and then scion it comes from Latin, which means skio, which is to know in the fullest sense of the word know. So Scientology is the study of how to know. So now, when it comes to one of the things that we do in Scientology is we define our words. Words mean something,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, we live in a society where people just kind of use words and they don't actually know what those words mean.
Right.
And so all you have to do is just label something cult, and then instantly it shuts down the brain and the mind to even engage in what it is.
Right.
Like, I don't, you know what, I actually came here deciding that I'm not going to use too many analogies, because as soon as I open up the can of worms of analogies, but I had another one I was going to say, just like, nope, don't do that. But yeah, so cult practices, right? What does that mean?
Well, so let me say this here. I use that word cult practices. So let me see if I can rephrase that, right?
Okay.
Because some of the individuals that I've been kind of having conversations with feel as if the Church of Scientology has something to do with, in my words, kind of has something to do with cult, or being involved with the cult. I don't know if that's a religion or practices, or I don't even know what word I'm kind of looking for right now, but it has like it has something to do with darkness or things of that nature. If I'm making myself
Like black magic.
something like that,
Okay,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So, two things. In every book, the very first thing it says, this is an important note. In reading this book, be very certain you never go past a word you do not fully understand. The only reason why a person becomes confused or unable to learn is because he or she has gone past words, or a word or words that they did not have a definition for. Okay, so that's the first thing. Number two, there's an article called Personal Integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, I read this article every Sunday when I deliver Sunday service. And I've read it so many times I could probably quote it verbatim. But it says, personal integrity, what is true for you is what you yourself have observed. And there is no other integrity other than what you have observed.
Okay.
Now, we can talk about honor, truth, nobility, all these things, these terms that we can throw around, but what do they really mean? But if we only observe what we are observing and say what we have observed. That's integrity. At the very end of the article, L. Ron Hubbard says, nothing in Scientology is true for you unless you have observed it. And it's true according to your observation. That is all.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to, like I said, I read the books. I'm a strong advocate of, okay, you know what? Don't believe a word I say. I could be lying to you right now about all of this. But guess what? You can read the books, and you can decide for yourself. I trust you.
Right.
See, I think the confusion becomes because people have a natural fear of what they don't understand. And, you know, Scientology basically offers you the opportunity to explore without having to attach to one specific religion's concept. Right? You're free to still be you. We're not trying to change you and pull you to your side of it. You know, it's just simply saying, hey, how can we help you be the best you can be? Maybe you didn't know it, but here's how you could recognize it within yourself. And you don't have to be a part of this organization or that organization to find your way there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? So it's understandable.
Yeah. So when we kind of talk about the unknown, you know, change, you know, things of that nature, we tend to kind of run into some of that same pushback or maybe misunderstanding, you know, because they may have not done the homework themselves or may not have understood what it is that they have read, you know, or perhaps understood or acknowledged what someone has told them, you know, et cetera, right? But we have some of them same issues and concerns, if you will, with the campaign, right?
Yeah.
People tend to not necessarily want change based off of whatever it is that they think, feel, or believe, right? But because they have been doing things one way for so long that they don't necessarily truly understand that there's much more out there, meaning that, you know, you can go to, for example, the Church of Scientology and still be there with someone from Buddhists and other other religions and be able to learn so much more, you know, versus you just being at one church with a full of people that kind of follow what you're following, right? So pertaining to, you know, the campaign of you running for Hennepin County Sheriff, you know, what is your message? You know, as we talk to people all the time about change, and you kind of hear, you know, the Democrats versus the Republicans versus the Independent versus the Green Party, you know, and whose fault is it this and whose fault is it that?
Yeah, I think what you find is that people have learned behaviors, right? They've been taught a certain way and that this is an acceptable way of doing things for so long. Then the most important thing happens, which is the acceptance, right? When they actually buy into the beliefs. You know, in this campaign, people have gotten used to the way things are, and they went, "Oh my God, it's worked for so long. Why change it?" Even though they knew it didn't work. And so, what we're doing is something different. We're actually saying, you know what? For years we've done this. It hasn't revealed any change, anything positive. And we know the clear definition of insanity is to continue to keep doing the same things and expecting a different outcome. So we're changing that. We're going to change the way they've been doing things, and we're going to get different measurable outcomes of success. And we have a roadmap to make that happen. And I think, you know, even with Scientology, that's the biggest fear. People hear the term church, and they think automatically it's got to mean, you know, that it's attached to a specific religion. Not necessarily so. If you look up the church, it's a whole different concept. So, you know, when you come in the door, you should be excited by it because basically they're saying is everybody's accepted here. Right? Now, what that goes back to is the history of religion, right? Because remember, the history of religion was actually a control concept. Right? And so if you didn't believe in this particular faith, you could actually get killed, right? So Scientology opens that door for those guys to be able to share, hey, here's what our beliefs are. Doesn't change it and try to make it feel like you feel bad about it, but here's what we do in our religion, and then I can learn from your religion, and together we can find that happy medium where we all can coexist, and that's what it's all about. Just like in the campaign, it's all about us coexisting and agreeing that everybody wants to be safe, right? And that's where we at.
Okay, can I get you to do me one favor?
What? I didn't tap on the table.
No. No, what I'm going to need you to do is I'm going to need you to slide about 2 inches to your left. To your left.
All right.
Couple more inches.
Oh, I'm off the camera?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you're kind of out the camera just a little.
Wow.
Are you maybe to your right? Because now it seems like you're moving further away.
No, that's right. You got to be
Okay.
coming this way.
Why is the camera moving or something today?
I don't know, but we're going to have to shit shoulder to shoulder today. You know what I'm saying? Just so that you can be in the conversation. We hear you, but we don't see you.
Yes. I mean, that's the important part of it, is that people have a better understanding. And when they do, then we can actually get where we're trying to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you are definitely fighting people's behaviors and what they've been taught. And truly, if I've been instructed on this is what religion is and what it means to me, and I buy into it, then I automatically assume that what you're teaching me or trying to teach me goes against everything that I've been taught, and it must be wrong because someone has to be wrong.
Yeah, right.
And that's kind of what it is.
Confession. So, like I said, I read the books before I even set foot in the church,
Right.
because honestly, the name scared me.
Mm-hmm.
I literally, when there was a little storefront. It's not with a church, but it was kind of like a mission that had just the books there.
Okay.
And I walked in there, and and the guy was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'm like, "Hey, what is this?" It didn't say Church of Scientology. It just said Dianetics, which, by the way, I want to talk more about the difference between Dianetics and Scientology.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it was Dianetics because I bought that book when I was in high school, and I was like, "Yeah, I saw the commercials. I want to get that book." I tried to read it, couldn't read it. So I went in there and I was like, "Yeah, I've heard of Dianetics." Well, and he goes, "Well, did you read the book?" I'm like, "No, I tried reading it, but I didn't finish it." And he goes, "Oh, well," he showed me that important note about going past a misunderstood word. And I said, "Yeah, I remember reading that." He goes, "Well, you just went past a misunderstood word." And I said, "Excuse me, I do declare, sir, but I went to Whitney Young High School. It is a magnet school, and I have an excellent vocabulary." And he says, "Great, then you won't mind telling me what the definition of this word is?" And he pointed to the cover, Dianetics. And I went, "Man, you got me. I do not know what that means." So we looked up the definition. Dianetics, dia is a Greek word which means through. It's the same as diameter, through the measure of the circle. And then netics comes from the Greek word nous, which is the mind. So through the mind, or what the soul is doing to the body through the mind. And I went, "Whoa, that's what I wanted to learn about."
Right.
And then he goes, "Great. Well, have you heard of the Church of Scientology?" And I went, and I started looking for the door, and he saw that he was losing me, and so he asked me, "Hey, I'm donating these books to the library right across the street. Do you mind taking them across the street for me?" And I went, yeah, I could do that, because the word cult was going through my head. And I was like, I remember all of the stuff that my family had, ingrained in me, and I was like, I'm gonna get out of here now while I can. But as I was walking across the street, I looked at the books, and I was like, it's not gonna hurt me to read the books.
Right.
So I gave the librarian the books, and then I took them out, went home, and read them cover to cover, using my dictionary and making sure that I understood what I was reading. And I was like, this is what people are afraid of? This makes too much sense. I went back, as soon as it was like about 4 or 5 weeks later, I went back in there, and the guy looked at me, he went, "You read the books, didn't you?" And I said, "Yes, I did." I said, "So what is this Church of Scientology? Because this don't look like no church to me." And he says, let me show you. So then, once again, we looked up the words, church, religion, spirituality, and I was like, I've never known this. All my years in church, I've never got these words defined. And it just changed how I saw religion. Because, get this, I'm a religious studies major, and I never got those words defined.
Wow.
So
Well, because in your mind you had already been taught that religion runs everything. This is the way you should go, and you need to be religious, and here's what we do. And the thing of it is, people buy into it because they've been told they have to buy into it. Right? And so until you actually explore it, you know how many people have been baptized but have no idea why?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Other than they were told to, and they know we're going downstairs, and there's going to be a tub there, and now what? Right? Because they came out of it thinking, I'm baptized. Tomorrow the Cadillac's gonna show up. Things are gonna get better in my life. People are gonna surround me, And they are shocked when they come upstairs and it's like, yeah, you still gotta go to work Monday. Yep.
It's a violation of the personal integrity. What's true for you is what you have observed yourself.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, as we kind of shift here just a little bit, and I want to start out because I know that we have kind of gotten off on a whole bunch of other different things that we didn't plan on kind of talking about today, but that's okay because that doesn't do nothing but open up the door for you to come back.
It's a conversation.
Absolutely.
There you go. There you go.
But I want to start with this event that's happening, at your location this weekend on the 21st and 22nd. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Sure. So, Sister Naira Muhammad and her husband, Brother David Muhammad,
Okay.
are flying in from Clearwater, Florida, and she actually is a TEDx speaker. And I should have sent you the video of her TEDx speech. But she's also the founder of Repair of the Black Family.
Mm-hmm.
So she's coming to Twin Cities for a 2-day event to talk about mental health.
Okay.
And it's going to be at the Church of Scientology, but it's a Repair the Black Family event. So that's it in a nutshell. There's going to be several speakers. There's going to be live entertainment. There's going to be refreshments. It's going to be an awesome event. Repair the Black Family. Just because it's called the Repair the Black Family, is not limited to just black families.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the understanding is that if we repair the black community, the black family, we will actually repair the nation. Have you heard the saying that when America gets a cold, the black community gets a flu?
Mm-hmm.
We heal ourselves, we will heal the nation.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's the idea that we're coming with.
So how does one attend? What's the price of tickets and the address again? And if they need to make a phone call to someone, or how do they obtain information?
Okay, so then it's a free event.
Free.
Free.
Like F-R-E-E.
F-R-E-E.
Okay.
Not F-R-I-E, but F-R-E-E.
I think everybody can understand that word is free.
It's a free event.
Okay.
The address is 505 Wabasha Street North in St. Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, the telephone numbers are, well, let's give you my number, 319-541-6318. You can call me and I'll get you registered for that. There's actually an Eventbrite link that you can go, look for and then just sign up that way. And then the other number is, give me a second.
So you can kind of go on Eventbrite.
Yep, it's
Okay.
on Eventbrite.
Okay. And your phone number again real quick?
319-541-6318.
And that is at 505 Wabasha Street North in St. Paul. And that is this Saturday and Sunday from 2 until 6, 2 p.m. until 6 p.m.
That's
and
right.
the event is free.
F-R-E-E.
Free.
With free food.
With free food, yes.
Double F's.
Well, it sounds like you really can't go wrong there. I have been sharing it, pretty often. We had Sister Naira, Muhammad on about a couple weeks ago, and it was just a fabulous conversation that she and I had, and I cannot wait to meet her and her husband.
Okay, I got the other number. And this is Sister Sandra Muhammad. She's with the Nation of Islam here in Twin Cities.
Okay.
And that is 763-438-2811. So this is just goes to show you this is an interfaith organization. This is not about we have Muslims, we have Christians, we have I actually have some new Buddhist friends now.
Okay. So you also kind of wanted to talk about the traditional learning methods that can be effective, leading to frustration and the inability to study and learn, et cetera, et cetera. Can you talk a little bit more about that there?
Yeah, because this is actually, it's interesting. It's a personal journey that I want to share what I found that works for me, and I've seen it work with other people because I'm actually a tutor, and I'm teaching, math, science, you name it. And I'm using these simple techniques of study technology to improve someone's ability to study what it is that they're supposed to be doing their homework with. The problem is that I don't want to be a tutor. I want to actually put myself out of a job. Do you know what I mean? I want the person that I'm tutoring to become so good at what they're studying that they don't need me.
Right.
That's
Okay.
that's my focus. So, and that's exactly what study technology does. It actually it gives the student and the parents the tools to do their own study.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so when I say it's personal to me, is because, like I said, I went to a magnet high school. I thought I was Mr. Smart Guy. Everything just kind of came easy for me. And then there was some point where I hit a wall, and it's because I had to study things, and I did not know how to study. It wasn't as easy anymore, and so I hit a brick wall. And at some point, I actually had to drop out of college.
Okay.
And I was like, this is not like me. What the heck's going on? And I read this book called Basic Study Manual, which is another, that's an applied scholastics book that L. Ron Hubbard wrote. And I read that book, and I went back to school, and all those times that I was falling asleep during lectures, I wasn't doing that anymore.
Okay.
When I would go home and do my homework, I didn't need coffee and no-dos.
Excited interest.
I understood what it was that I was studying now.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, this is amazing. So what would happen if every black man, woman, child in America knew how to study? What would that look like? Because, the organization that I'm working with right now has the idea that if you give a man a fish, he only eats today. But
Right.
if you teach him how to fish, he'll feed himself.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to do it a little bit further. I want to teach that man to teach others how to fish.
Okay.
And that's going to be the legacy that I'm leaving. I want to teach people how to study and teach others how to teach others how to study.
Absolutely. So if I'm following you, if I'm tracking you here, so you're saying that, the method that you want to teach will be able to kind of prevent those from kind of getting frustrated, those from kind of being kind of ineffective,
Yeah.
with their studies or with their learning and things of that nature. Am I?
Oh yeah, I mean just think about this. 80% of juvenile delinquency and troubles that you have at school, it comes from the frustration and the inability to learn.
Mm-hmm.
If those kids were learning, and they were actually learning, they would enjoy going to school, and there wouldn't be any behavior problems.
So when we talk about school, there was just some numbers that I was just recently looking at as far as on like 64% of African American male youth graduating. I think there's like 75% female. They were talking about like 35% roughly. I wish I had those numbers in front of me again. That was living in a single parent home. There was all these numbers that were pretty alarming.
Right.
When it kind of comes to the black family and the structure of the black family, and that whichever single parent was parenting, the annual income that they were getting, for that child was on like $5,500 a year, which we know that it takes a lot more than $5,500, a year to help raise a kid.
Right.
Obviously, a lot of it too is being physically present and things of that nature as well. However, that piece, I don't know how you kind of put that piece in there, but it wasn't there.
Well, one of the there was this story from Baltimore. Two stories from Baltimore that I want to share. And that was when there was a survey of middle schools and high schools, and the survey found that not one child in any of these schools that were surveyed was reading or having their math skills at grade level. They were all below. And so that's the first survey. And then there was this one young lady whose son was not graduating because he had a 0-point-something grade point average, and he was a senior. And basically, the school system was just passing him to the next level without, and he was basically flunking all of his classes, and she didn't know about this until the last year. And I felt like, ooh, that's
Yeah,
very,
we had a few of those, what we call them, certificate of attendance.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's what they were doing. They were just kind of pushing them along so that they didn't have to deal with them in the following year, It's sad because I think the biggest problem that I've seen with that is that a lot of what's taught with children of color in black communities, they don't identify with the education, so there's not a real interest, right? We're teaching them about individuals that don't directly come from their history, their heritage, and things of that nature. And so there's no real interest for them kids specifically. And it's not teaching them that there's a successful outcome, right? So if you look at what the counterpart Caucasian students are being taught, they're taught about George Washington and how he never told a lie. And if you do the right thing, how he could aspire to become a great general and president, right? Meantime, in between time, they're not teaching you that the child that was black was going to start out as a slave. And he had the possibility of maybe becoming a farmhand and later being, not a teacher or a professor or anything positive. And so what's happening is the kids lost interest and the parents lost interest.
Well, let me challenge you on something though. So you know that 56% of all Americans, black, white, Asian, you name it, are reading at a 6th grade or below level. Now, that means that even Caucasians are being hit by poor education systems. So but to your point, it does hit the black community even harder.
Yeah, I think the biggest part of it too, the second piece of that is that, we look at what's being taught, right? Children aren't really reading as well as they could because we've got away from phonetics, right? These children don't know how to sound it out, how to make sounds work, how to determine what brings a word and then look for the meaning behind that word. So as a result of it, they're not expanding the vocabulary because everything is more picture hands-on versus actually absorbing the information. Primarily because of technology, right? Technology is doing the work for them, and it's kind of, they're in a position where they're not forced to use their brains as much, right? Even we see it, right? Because in our youth, we had to know how to read maps, remember phone numbers, addresses, things of that nature. Now, what's happened is we can't remember anything. Why? Because it's all in our box, right? We don't need to store it anymore. And when you don't use it, you lose it. You know what I'm saying? We're not using the full brain's capacity. That's what's happened. These kids don't have to go to school and add up information or do math because they have a computer that they're allowed to use that's doing it for them. In fact, a lot of them don't even know the outcomes or the work in between. They just know this is what it should be.
Right.
So that's kind of what we're encountering.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I do want to thank you for those numbers because I was just about to kind of speak on those that are reading and things of that nature below grade level, and it's quite alarming.
Yeah.
But when we talk about, such as Sister Muhammad and I were talking about the structure, and the rebuild or rebirth, whatever, of the black family, it does hit quite differently.
Yeah.
And again, that's not to leave out or not address, any other nationality. But, as you had stated earlier about if we're able to kind of, rebuild or, the black family, then we can rebuild
The nation.
the nation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I do know that we are kind of rounding that clock, if you will, of another.
I mean, I am like literally being
what-
eliminated.
What happened?
What's
Oh,
going on
I'm
with
not
the
sure
camera?
what's happening.
I think for some odd reason, I think the camera.
Is it panning?
Yeah, there it is. It's panning. It keeps panning to me. I guess. I guess I'm the superstar today. This is my show. Thank you for coming to tell us.
Well, thank you for having us today. Well, we know who you are, Brother Joe. But again, we're ending that corner. We're around that corner of another fabulous show. Man, we thank you honestly, wholeheartedly for coming out. And again, we have to have you back. And you're welcome back anytime you please. But before we let you get out of here, we have to allow you to give our audience, the people, some insight, with everything that's not just so much this event that's kind of going on this weekend. And that's just a fabulous event that I'm really looking forward to. But as you know, we're just in such troubling times. A lot of folks are saying that, it's because people are not in church. People has lost the sight of, the Lord and things of that nature. And we all know exactly how powerful, he can be if you keep that faith.
That's correct.
Right? You have to let go of something in order to be able to obtain the blessings that he has for you. Right? So if you could take a minute or so, to educate, empower, and enhance the quality of communities, of people, what would that look like?
So the first thing I would say is that your mind is your most powerful weapon against all your enemies in life. But unfortunately, sometimes if you're not a friend of yourself, you're not a friend of your mind, and you can allow your mind to lead you in directions where you would not ordinarily go if you were really thinking about the outcomes and the path in which you're taking. This technology that Sister Naira is going to be talking about, Mental Health Matters, deals exactly with that. It deals with the source of trauma. By the way, I've been using this technology. I've been actually counseling people. I've been using it, and it breaks my heart. So some of the people that I work with, some of the things that they've gone through, and the traumas and the pain that they've endured in their lives, but that at the end of the therapies, they actually realize that, I can make a different decision than what I've been doing based on that past pain and trauma. And I don't have to be insane. I can make a different decision. And I think that what, Brother Joe was saying earlier about is how, people are just doing things and reacting to situations, and you see all of this stuff that's happening in our communities. You do want to do something, but the way you've been doing it is not working.
Right,
it's
right.
time to make a change.
Absolutely. And it's a lot different from reacting to something versus responding to something. Brother Joe, hey, can you fix that camera real quick to have us all in there real quick? it's been kind of zooming in slowly but surely, and we're getting lost.
This is the Reverend Troy show now.
Right. Absolutely. Nope. The other way. Nope. No, it's just really on you now, right? This is really Reverend Troy's show. Let me tell you, Brother Joe. That's all right. They know exactly who we are as we are here each and every Wednesday, right? But I want to give you a couple minutes of being able to talk about two topics that's the other way. We way off now. Well, we're just gonna keep rolling. It is what it is, right? But two topics, brother. That's some hot topics right now pertaining to your campaign. Bam, there you go. One is we've been having a lot of conversation. How would you handle the current Hennepin County Sheriff's Office overwhelming budget? And then the second is how are you planning to handle the immigration ICE situation?
Ooh, great issues. Let's tackle the ICE issue first. One, I think that I would have a conversation with the county commissioners because that approval should come from the commissioners anyways, according to statute. But I would definitely be looking to work with our federal partners, right? We prefer, if we have to make those arrests, that they occur in a safe environment like the jail that's already controlled, where people have already been alleged to have commit crimes, and so we're not doing these broad sweeps down the streets and knocking on doors and kicking in doors. This is more of a targeted enforcement. So I'll be, making sure that I have an understanding of who they're looking for, where they're looking to get those folks, and how we can better assist them in being safe while doing it. They're not asking for us to do immigration enforcement. What they're asking is for that we stand by and be good partners while they be safe doing their job. That's what they're asking, and that is law enforcement.
Absolutely.
The second part of that budget piece is planning. Planning. You have to be willing to be honest up front as to what your needs are, what you intend to do with those needs, so that you can give people a realistic understanding of why it is what they need. We know that the deputies are grossly undernumbered in the county, 1.5 million people. And we can't patrol an entire county with 200 and some patrol deputies. And I think the numbers are lost in translation because people hear the verbose number for the deputies that are attached to the county, but they don't understand the difference between the civilian corrections deputies who have no legal authority to go out into the community and stop crime versus the patrol deputies who are actually out there responding to calls and keeping people safe, and that needs to be clarified. And so when you're dealing with the commission board, you need to be able to express to them why that great need is there to increase it and why that money is needed. Now, I would also communicate with the Justice Department and express to them the need to supplement some of those salaries with their assistance and collaboration with the commission so we can make that happen. And I think that is the biggest concern that everyone has, is kind of what we're doing with the budget. This year, I think Sheriff Witt indicated that she's going to probably start off the budget about $10 million in the red. And it's primarily because she was authorized to hire a certain amount of number of folks that she didn't receive funding for. And you have to immediately push back and go, hey, I see I've been authorized for X amount of numbers, but the money's not coming. I can't hire folks, right? We can't start off in the hole. We have to explain why that hole needs to be expended from the gate. And I think once you do that, the taxpayers understand that if they're going to be paying more money but be safe and they know where the money's going, that's a lot easier to do up front than it is to come backwards and go, oh, man, yeah, we need extra money for this and extra money for that. So it has to be a better planning process. I got that plan. I'm working that budget daily, scenarially based, trying to make sure that when we go into it, we hit the ground running and be prepared to keep people safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, man, we are down to the end of another spirited show of Let's Talk About It, where, again, we are here each and every Wednesday. We want to thank all of you individuals and entities that are out there doing fabulous work, on a daily basis. We know that there's still families that are seeking justice, for the death of their loved ones. My family just went in front of the committee yesterday to have the intersection of where my beloved aunt was killed almost 10 years ago. Her 10-year anniversary will be coming up here soon, and we're hoping that we will be able to kind of get that done prior to her anniversary. That would be a blessing. But with that being said, I am going to go ahead and turn it on over to you, Brother Joe, so that therefore you can go ahead and hit him with that famous backpack. Reverend, again, thank you, brother.
You're welcome.
And again, you are more than welcome to come back anytime you feel. Brother Joe, we need to go. So go ahead and hit him with that backpack.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just want to take the time to remember those soldiers that are still in harm's way fighting for our rights across the seas. Make sure you're keeping those families in mind because they're still out there putting their lives on the line to make sure we enjoy the freedoms that we have. Again, check on your loved ones. Make sure that they're safe. Check on your neighbors. If you see something, say something. And again, hats off to those organizations that are still out there trying to make it work. A lot of people don't know that a lot of the organizations that are dealing with social problems such as recovery, addiction, and things of that nature, and homelessness have been financially placed on hold while the statewide audit continues to determine whether or not there's fraud. And as a result of that, those folks that need those services aren't receiving those services. So it's very important that you, as the citizens, put a little pressure on your representatives and legislative leaders to ensure that we get these folks back their programming because we need to be able to keep people safe in our community.
Absolutely.
With that being said, we start, middle, and end the show with the backpack.
That backpack.
I'm going to hit you with that backpack. That backpack consists of making sure you have your driver's license and insurance before you get in that vehicle. Remember to place it above the visor. That way if stopped by law enforcement, it won't be mistaken for a weapon. Remember to stay calm. Keep your hands where they can be seen. Allow the officer to go through his spiel. And as always, 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 make it on home to your loved ones. Same thing when walking down the street. Make sure you got your driver's license or ID where it's easily accessible. Remember to stay calm. Allow the officer to go through his spiel. Keep your hands where they can be seen. And as always, 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 make it on home to your loved ones. A little piggyback on top of that, like I said, guys, remember to stay calm when dealing with officers. The most important part is we want you to make it through that interaction with the officer. Get home to your families. If you see something or experience something that you feel is not right, wait until you're in a safe environment and we can help you deal with those situations.
Indeed.
With that being said, my name's Joe Banks.
And we have Reverend Wilson to the left. And my name's Anthijuan Beeks.
And we just talked about it.
Peace.
Peace.